And on the 17th is an eclipse. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, what's up, everybody? This is G. This is your weekly Allastrology. And this is the week of September 16th, 2024. This is kind of a hot week. You see some red, you see some blue, you see some black. We see some oppositions. So this week starts off with Mercury. We've got the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. And Virgo energy is all about work and the day-to-day routines. What do I do for my day-to-day routines? Like if you have to think about your daily schedule and how you fill your daily schedule, like how does it get filled in with what, doing what? Cleaning, organizing, and cleanliness is usually part of that for a lot of us, whether we want it to be or not. You get up, you gotta write. Or you go to bed, you take a shower, you get up, you take a shower, you put on clean clothes. If you don't have clean clothes, you got to clean some clean clothes. You know, there's a lot of little minutia and detail things that Virgo energy sets us up for success, which includes the food that we choose and the prep of that food, the grocery shopping, right? The housekeeping, especially if we got little ones going to school and getting ready to go to school, right? Oh my God, right? Whether it's to make breakfast, packing up lunches, I don't even know how people do all that anymore and how that works, but that's that Virgo busy energy of organizing. And I got my calendar out and I'm structuring out my week so that I can make it function, right? It connects the dots. It connects the details is what Virgo does. It connects the details. Now, the Pluto keeps popping into my brain. And I have it drawn in, so we're going to talk about it. It will be when the sun, you see how the sun's at 24 here, right? Well, the sun only moves 1 degree a day. That tells us that by the end of the week, the sun will get to 29 degrees. Well, Pluto's at 29 in Cappy. So this is work, right? The day-to-day stuff, the workforce, literally the details about the workforce, the service industry, right? Your job. Your tasks, your projects. This is also your health, your gut health. Literally, it's why the food matters, right? And like it being the stomach and the gut and it being kind of like really the first brain of the body type of thing. The sun is an authority figure. Mercury's in Virgo. So Mercury is the news and what we're thinking about. And health is a big deal here. Mental health, a really big deal. When you got Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, Mercury rules Virgo. Okay. So it's really a big focus on that. And maybe an overly focus for some of you who I know have a lot of energy in Virgo, because this is the mind. Mercury is your mind. And sometimes that damn thing just doesn't want to turn off, right? You're tired, but you just can't go to sleep. So that might be a thing because there's a lot of activation of the mind energy. The jack of all trades, the Virgo stuff, and the sun, wherever the sun is, whatever sign it is, it kind of lights it up. Sun is the energy. It gives it energy. It's like the battery on full, right? It's like, okay, we can go. Let's zoom. We're done. We've got the ability. We're done charging. The sun is fully powered and it's amping up, whether it's the work sector or your home life or your tasks and projects at work, and a boss, authority figure, and possibly projects coming in, and the authority maybe looking at some of the details because sun is an authority figure. So in your life, whether you're a boss at the job or a spouse or a mother or father, an authority figure in some way. Mercury's the news. It's also social media, any kind of news, snail mail, however you consume your news, your mind, your reading, your curiosity, what you're learning about, what you're doing. Let's not forget Virgo is our furry friends. That's important. Our furry friends. When we had the Gemini stuff and when I have Mars and the Gemini going through there, the girls here, one of them had to get a visit for a skin thing that was going on. We weren't sure. Her parents weren't sure what it was. And of course she came home and, like 5 days later she had the sniffles, right? And then it turned into like some goopy eye thing and then sneezing everywhere. And then a few days after that, Taffy got it. And anyway, once Mars moved its ass on, because Gemini energy squares Virgo energy. You see that? Can you see that in the chart? I'm sorry, here's Gemini up there. Yeah. And so it's mutable energy, just like Virgo. They're both mutable. And mutable squares mutable when you have similar matching energy. Okay. Jupiter is still in Gemini and it's going to be there for a while. Jupiter's got to do a retrograde. There's another video that's out for that. Actually, you might not have seen it yet, but you will see it if you haven't seen it yet. And there will be a retrograde that goes on. At this 20 degrees, Jupiter is nearing where it's going to begin actually retrograding, which means moving backwards. It's not there yet. Okay. It'll start around 21 degrees. Okay. I'm speaking about this because Mercury moves pretty quick. And so as this week progresses, Mercury will start squaring more tightly this Jupiter. Mercury squaring Jupiter. Remember, Mercury's the news, but Mercury is also the ruler of Gemini energy. Mercury rules Gemini as well. Yeah, it's a co-ruler of both Virgo and Gemini. So when you have that square and that angle energy, but you've got the boss, the sun, in Virgo, it's the boss seeing the details, the boss possibly talking about the details, and these details that add up. It's like the receipts. You see, Gemini may talk about the details because it likes to learn. It's super curious energy. And it is the teacher energy. It is the grade school. It's like, hey, I'm in school and I'm learning. I'm reading books. I'm talking though. I'm communicating. I'm relating. It's my peers. It's my neighbors. It's my coworkers. You know the kind of conversations you have with your coworkers? It's not always truthful, is it? And sometimes we're just talking about other people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it could be we're just talking about our teacher, we're talking about our boss, or we're talking about our classmate, right? Or our coworker. Like there's kind of a lot of a gossipy tendency. Oh boy, gossipy? Is that a shocker? Considering this is the internet? And what do people do on the internet? Oh my God, it's like it's the digital playground where we feel like we have been given the divine right to just trash people verbally, right? Through the messages that we do under videos or on different social sites. But that's kind of a negative outlook on it. But unfortunately, it's misinformation, right? And that's what's happening. So the difference between the Gemini and the Virgo is the Virgo comes with the receipts because it's Earth. You see, Gemini's a lot of air. It's going everywhere. It's the jack of all. It can't focus on one specific thing. And that's the issue with the Gemini stuff. It has to learn to focus on something and really master something, but it gets really scattered. And it's so scattered and moving fast because it's air. The Virgo stuff likes the details. The Virgo stuff is rooted. It's rooted in something that's going to be more tangible and real because it's earth energy. And that's why I said it brings the receipts, the accountant type thing. Yeah, that's more Virgo-y, right? The details, the data, the numbers. This week, the sun is trining. Look at this chart. Do you see the blue trine? The sun is trining Uranus. See that blue line right there? There's your sun trining Uranus. Oops, that's Capricorn. The other blue. It's the other blue, this one up here. Money, banking, the digital dollar, digital money. I'm hearing BRICS, BRICS. They're creating like a digital payment system, right? Trying to compete with the US dollar. So this is people coming together who are in power. This can also be crypto and Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is supposed to also be that, that substitute for, this is an open ledger system and it creates the ability to transfer large amounts of money securely and quickly. Pluto going backwards doesn't go beyond 29. But it's part of the story of this week of the sun getting closer and higher to 25, 26, 27, and then 28 and 29. The sun moves 1 degree a day. So Virgo energy is earth. And so this trine that we have with the sun, an authority figure, with Uranus, an authority figure, with Pluto, an authority figure, government and business, big corporations. You see, the jobs, the service industry, banking, and the earth. The earth. So we think of the crops and the food. We think of Taurus energy, and we think of how we have Jupiter midpoint with Saturn at 2 degrees of Taurus, 256. Humea. This is uh the name is escaping me. That's not Humea. You know what that is, but it's the health report card in the finances. So banking. And then we have Jupiter and Neptune and the 9 degree, which is courtrooms, judges. Jupiter is a big deal. And you see, we got a Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter in Uranus. This one's got a lot of power and shocking power at 8 degrees. That's a Scorpio degree, right? So there's just some really powerful things happening. And then with judges, right? So we could think of Supreme Court too, but values and money and shocks and surprises still. But changes that are occurring to create stability. Stability. See all the earth? That's that big blue trine you see in there. That big blue triangle is the earth energy. That's the backstory of this entire week. So that takes us to the 17th. I have the 17th written down here. And on the 17th is an eclipse. Again, separate video. I'll put the link here or there down below somewhere. You might want to go watch it. You're going to need to know the degrees of the eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse. It's in Pisces. It's on the 17th of September. Okay. So what you're doing is you're looking for Pisces energy in your chart. When you find Pisces, this is the sign of Pisces right here. Okay. See the blue? That's Pisces energy. When you find the sign of Pisces, that's the degree of this lunar eclipse. Once you find the 25 degrees, you're going to see what house that 25 degrees sits in. And that's like in this chart, 25 degrees. I have it marked off. It's right there. So for this house, the 25 degrees is in the 8th house. In this chart, 25 degrees is in the 8th. Yeah. And that would tell you the eclipse event of lunar events, which is emotional stuff, right? Emotional stuff. And the effect that it has. Being in Pisces and understanding all those keywords for Pisces is a big deal. Surrender might be a big thing. I'm praying that surrender is what's going to occur. And it could be, if this was your chart and you had it in the 8th, this is psychological. Scars, wounds, emotional trauma from the past and history. Yeah, deeply psychological, very intense vulnerabilities that you keep hidden, right? The buried, the heat, the below the surface, so you can't get hurt. You don't want anyone to know about those wounds that you have. That's the 8th house. It's also shared energy and inheritances. It's all that too. So that happens on Tuesday. Okay. So that's the 17th. That's Tuesday. And as a quick reminder for that, the ruling planets of that eclipse are Jupiter and Neptune. You see, so Jupiter has a lot of power this week. All right. So then that takes us a little bit further on to Mercury, because Mercury is moving, right? Moving through Virgo. And look on here, and Mercury's like at 19 and 20 degrees on Friday. Mercury is squaring Jupiter. So to me, that's another really fascinating thing, because Mercury squaring Jupiter now is information and communication, right? Mercury, it's the news. Well, Jupiter in Gemini is also the news, but it's also judges, because it's judges in the news and what is being reported upon. So this sits still pretty much at 20. It's the Mercury getting closer. So literally, this can be, stress and tension. And it could be with jobs and the jobs reports, because it's Mercury in Virgo. It's the details, it's the minutia, and the service industry. Okay? There could be some data there. We were waiting on interest rates, so I'm not sure. I can't remember the date when that information comes down the pike as far as when interest rates, when the announcement's made. I do know it's supposed to be made in September, a decision, an interest rate decision. So with all that said, a square creating stress and tension. Something that's interesting is Gemini is also the housing market, but it's also business and finances. as far as just, Wall Street and the markets, right? It's not just and real estate. Like that's this energy. Okay. So Mercury getting a square, stress and tension. There's a lot of things we're getting a square about, and stress and tension that brings stress to us. Um, could be coworker energy too, and classmates for sure. And maybe just some crazy social media shit that we don't want to hear about. And do I even need to say politicians with the Jupiter stuff? Because it is. Politicians and judges is Jupiter energy, and Neptune and public figures. It's all of that. And yes, we're going to Venus. Venus is now by Friday, we got the sun at 28 degrees. I think I showed you that already over here. The sun is at 28, nearing the critical degree of 29, which the sun will be at the very next day, 29 degrees in Virgo. And Venus is now at a critical degree in Libra. I've got Venus on Saturday at 28 degrees and the sun at 29 degrees in Virgo. Venus is money and finances. And in Libra, this is partnerships, business partnerships. Okay. This can be foreign and like foreign affairs, right? We think of diplomacy, but it's also lawyer energy. We think of the justice system. We think of like Capitol Hill. We think of debates. We think of Congress members. A lot of, some of those those people who hold Senate House seats are lawyers. And so Venus at the 28, nearing the 29, represents the critical degree. And that means that Venus and Pluto, I've got it drawn in here. Venus and Pluto are squaring. It's a square. Money, values, finances, what I desire, Venus, my relationships, my business partnerships being squared by Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn. Yeah, big business, government, people in government, people who are supposed to be representing us in government and not ruling over us. Pluto. Pluto comes to say, what have you been doing? What have you been doing with the power that the people gave you? Right? So stress and tension. Stress and tension. You're going to start feeling that stress and tension Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. Actually, by Sunday, then the critical degree of Libra energy, because what's going to happen when something's at a critical degree usually talks about people, again, in power, but wealthy people typically people who have wealth. So again, public figures, right? How many of you are sick and tired of hearing about public figures? I know I am sick of it. I mean, if I hear about a public figure, I want it to be like a movie star. I want it to be a musician. I want it to be like someone who, like, people we want to hear about. You know what I'm saying? Not people who are supposed to be, who know the law, who are supposed to be practicing the law, and who are doing good things for civilization, for society, who are, trying to better our world. That's Bernie Sanders. Let me hear more about him. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the ones that are just a lot of hate news, a lot of hateful information, they seem to get the spotlight, and I'm tired of that. So Venus leaves Libra, and on Sunday, I think she's at 29 on Sunday. Yeah, 29 degrees on Sunday. And on that same day, she's still in Libra, so she's at 29 critical degrees. On that same day, Sunday, the weekends always seem really powerful, right? Wait, before I go to Sunday, look what I have written here. I forgot about this. There's so much. Saturday, when Venus is at 28, when Venus is at 28, squaring Pluto, Mercury is conjunct Black Moon Lilith, because Black Moon Lilith moves backwards really fast. You see that? Black Moon Lilith. I have her drawn in next to the sun there. But because Black Moon Lilith is such a fast mover and a shaker, she is conjunct Mercury at 23 degrees, 22 even. So it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. Another hot weekend, man. hot weekend with authority figures. The sun is at a critical degree, Venus is at a critical degree, and then by Sunday and Monday, we still have Mercury and Black Moon together. But it begins Friday, Saturday. Okay, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These are together. So it's the news and the information. So this might represent some not so great news for public figures, whether they're representatives, whether they're somebody who had a court date on the 18th. There might be something, because Black Moon Lilith comes in, and when it's mixed with the news, it can be difficult news, right? There's feminine energy involved here. There's feminine energy involved. And if it's in Mercury, if it's in Virgo energy, we're thinking the jobs and the job market. So maybe it has to do with Jerome Powell, because Venus is part of this picture. Maybe it has to do with the Fed and the interest rates. Are they actually going to ease off on the interest rates? Is that going to happen? Or does Black Moon Lilith come along and say, wait a minute, we got this other data figure in with our Mercury information in Virgo, and it shows that, we got to keep things regular, which is a really good possibility, even though for months we've been getting positive data showing that there's a slowdown in the economy, in a slowdown in inflation, and that they should be decreasing the interest rates. So the Fed, that's their job. They're a separate entity from the federal government. That's the whole purpose of the Fed. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. And maybe this will mean just the opposite. And maybe they'll come along. And because as far as a surprise, it's still packed in here with that trine, because Pluto and Uranus and the sun will be trining Uranus energy. Yeah, that's a big trine. And so the sun and Uranus, to be quite frank, I think the day of the eclipse, that's an energy we're already feeling. I think it's going to show itself most strongly then. However, I will add that there's still some more powerful things as this week goes on. And so maybe there's a decision that's made, and then maybe it's something like, well, we're going to follow up with the details, right? So we think of looking to Mars for a quick second, because Mars talks about the actions that need to be taken. And look, I have a line drawn with Mars there. Mars moves about 4.5 degrees in the 7 days time. Okay. So if we add 4 to 7, that means Mars moves to about 11 degrees, which is why I have it marked off here, right before Sirius. So on Sunday, Monday, Mars is going to be conjunct Sirius, getting close. And Mars is in the housing market. You see, Mars in Cancer, the homes. This is also the public. Okay, let's be clear on that. This is the public, but it's also partnerships at the beginning of the week, because it's that 7 degrees. All right. So there's a lot of emphasis on partnerships and business partnerships, but the relationship with the public and emotions, this is big here. Okay. And Mars can be combative in Cancer energy. So I have it all that red there because Cancer energy is cardinal, and it angles and squares Libra energy. I have a big square drawn in on the chart. The cardinal energy between 7 and 11 degrees, stress and tension for Libra energy and Aries energy. Okay, so stress and tension, Libra and Aries, my freedoms, my liberties, my rights, body autonomy, partnerships, professional partnerships, business partnerships, things being fair and equal, and lady liberty. Like, this all matters. It's a big deal, right? Women have been, going through a battle to have reproductive rights and a right for what goes on in their office with their doctor's office, and them is their business type of thing. So big T square, because Mars takes action, right? And folks, Cancer energy is the moon. So this is also a big moon week, because an eclipse on the 17th, a lunar eclipse. That's the moon. That's the public. It's women energy again, feminine energy, I'll say. Okay. And then, yeah, you see, we also have Pandora's box at 25. This is going to be a bigger story in next week's video. We'll talk about that in detail then. So to close this week off, the big stuff happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but also big stuff towards the weekend. This is kind of a hot week because we've got Venus at a critical degree and the sun at a critical degree. Venus leaves Libra energy, the scales of justice and equality and freedom, goes into Scorpio, 0 degree, by Monday. And she'll be empowered because she will be conjunct Haumea. That is Haumea right there. Okay? Haumea's been in Scorpio, and it's all about a rebirthing process. Something that's old, that's dead, that's died away. And this is a birthing process. This is Scorpio energy, those old wounds, those traumas, those tragedies. This is feminine energy, and Venus is feminine energy. So if Venus is here, well, Venus, by nature, Venus is in her detriment. She's in a weakened state here in Scorpio because she's strong in Taurus, right? But Venus can be a little combative here, right? Venus can, depends a lot on how your natal Venus is in your chart, but this Venus may give your Venus that like, hey, we're going to fight for this type of shit. That could happen for sure. So with this week's chart, we're paying attention. And we're being hopeful because that Venus at that 29 degrees to end the week, the sun then entered Libra, scales of justice and equality and fairness, and this is an authority figure. So we're going to hopefully see some balance come into play, some equality, some fairness, and some justice, like that we can see in our lives. Okay. So I think that's it. That this was a big week. It was loaded. You got questions, comment below. I appreciate everything. All your wonderful comments, all your wonderful thumbs, all the people who share these videos. That helps this channel so much. Thank you. And I always appreciate your time. Till the next time, take care. Bye-bye.